Hey fam, welcome to episode 3 of Benjo and the Grand Tonto on Internet Capital. Got a great show for you guys today and can't wait to get started. Today I am in Lexington, Kentucky at a wedding, and Benjo is in the Big Apple, New York City. How you doing, Benjo?
Pretty good. It's a pretty crazy week in crypto, like always, but I think we have some really good things to talk about. How about you? How are you feeling this week?
I feel pretty good. Got a few airdrops, solidified some thinking on staking that we'll talk about later. A little bit calmer in the markets, which was kind of nice. And we're going to talk about the next steps, I think, in the regulatory process this week with ETFs, I believe, right?
Yeah, I think we have a good mix this week of some classic crypto degen topics, some political slash regulatory developments, and some just other things we want to share with you guys. So I think it'll be a pretty good episode. And I think with that, we can start off. Let's get right into markets if you're good with that.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, cool. So we're going to be starting with Bitcoin from this point forward because it does lead the market. It's the biggest crypto asset. ETH had its special week last week, but Bitcoin first. So let's pull up good old trading view. I actually have ETH up. All right. So it looks like we're recording this on Saturday, June 1st, and it looks like Bitcoin is down 1% on the week. We opened at about 68,400, and we're currently at 67,686. So in crypto, that's pretty much a flat week. I think coming off last week, we got kind of a little price boost from the Ethereum ETF and the interesting developments there. But like you said, not much action. Any thoughts here?
Yeah, so I'm kind of looking back to the January 2024 timeframe, and I was looking at this morning before we got on. There is major green candle action the week beginning when the Bitcoin ETF went live, and we see that kind of same thing in ETH. We'll see. That could probably, it looks like double that value if it follows Bitcoin's price action.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it'll be an interesting thing to see. We're going to get more into the ETF updates, so we can talk about more of that in the first section. But I
Okay.
really think we're just kind of in this pattern still, right around the all-time
Yep.
highs because if you zoom out here, we kind of got this nice little foundation, dipped below it, kind of shot right back up. This is my very bad technical analysis, by the way. Not a short-term trader, giving my thoughts on the charts, but it looks like we're in this holding pattern, and I think it's a pretty good foundation for the next leg up, assuming all goes well over the summer. So we'll see.
Absolutely.
Heading over to
Yeah.
ETH, yeah, heading over to ETH, same type of thing. I guess we have this ginormous 25% candle last week, which we talked about, and we're kind of flat this week. We're kind of holding right around this zone at some kind of key levels right in here. I know traders would be kind of looking at these zones right here, and I think same type of thing. We're just going to be in this little holding pattern before we really see what happens with these other ETF developments, the political developments, and so forth. So, any thoughts on ETH, kind of?
No, said them earlier. All good. I like what you said.
Yeah. We need to get a trader's take on here. I think I'm gonna start inserting some active macro and maybe some short-term traders that I follow their takes into here because that'll give some more context. But let's look at one more. Let's do Solana this week because we're gonna talk a little
Is
bit
it
about
up?
Solana.
Is Solana up right
Uh,
now? Remember our rule:
Flat.
no talk about Solana. If no, 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 not the price, the network. The network is not up. We
Mm,
don't talk about it.
yeah, no, network is up. No outages for a couple months, I
Okay.
think. So I think we're
Okay.
good for now. But
Okay.
I did preface for the later topic we're going to talk about. I did see that Bankless, very good news publication, they have good high quality information, is releasing a debate between one of Solana's creators, Anatoly, and Justin Drake, an Ethereum core researcher and developer, where they basically give the good, bad, and the ugly of each other's respective
Ooh.
networks. And I am a premium subscriber, so I got the free preview, watched some of it last night. Very spicy, very good. I think that's kind of related to what we're going to talk about later, but I just want to point that out. But Solana here
All right.
again, kind of flat, not much going on. I think it follows the rest of the market here as well. That's my only comment.
Okay.
Cool. So I'll stop sharing here. So to get into our first topic today, we're going to be talking some more about the Ethereum ETF and our progress on that front. So as an overview, we're going to recap what happened last week. So basically, the 19B-4 firms, which were those proposed rule changes to the trading venues that allow the ETFs to trade, were approved last Thursday, basically guaranteeing the existence of the ETFs themselves. So we're going to see them trade. So the second and only step after those have been approved are the S1 filings, which each issuing company needs to provide to the SEC. And these are mostly for disclosure purposes. So we don't really need to worry about them getting approved. It's just kind of like disclosing the various aspects of the instrument, and some of these are specific to the issuer. But these are fine. They're going to provide them. They'll have revisions, and then we're going to be on our way. So these were submitted by BlackRock, Fidelity, and some others this week for the SEC's first submission, and they're going to provide revision comments, and then we'll go through that process over and over again. And this is expected to take, I don't know, somewhere 4, 6, 8 weeks, something like this, depending on how many revisions are needed. And it's a very similar product to the Bitcoin ETFs, so hopefully that'll expedite the process, but I don't think the SEC is in any rush to get those out. So that's kind of the update there. And the only other thing that I wanted to add here is that 2 days before the 19B-4 forms were approved last week, Fidelity submitted an amended S1 that removed staking language from their product. So basically they're saying, hey, like these are not going to have staked ETH underlying. And I think that's just an interesting point and something that's going to be a key theme moving forward once we get the spot ETFs. It's like, hey, when are we going to have staked ETH ETFs? So that's just kind of the overview of what happened and where we are with that. And so as my first question to you, the Grand Tonto, do you have any thoughts about the progress so far? And second, do you have a prediction for the date that we're going to be able to trade these? Just, you don't have to be informed, just what's your prediction?
Yeah. So first thing, I think to boil down what you said for maybe the average user, the ETH ETFs have been approved, and the S1s mainly are informational document. It's not really a huge regulatory hurdle there. So that's a good thing that we're still on our way on the path to approval. My prediction, I think the administration will want some good political news around the July 4th weekend. So I'm going to say the first ETH ETF will be available to trade before the July 4th holiday weekend. So that gives us about 5 weeks.
Yeah, that's okay. My prediction was going to be July 15th. I'm not as optimistic as you, but that's pretty good. I'd be excited about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that has the advantage also, maybe from a SEC standpoint, that's probably the first day of the third quarter, I believe. So that, I don't know if they take that into account, but it's also a natural day there too.
Fair point. I like that prediction.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the
Yeah.
predictions, and then the second question here that I was going to ask you is that do you plan on buying ETH ETFs maybe in tax advantage retirement accounts? I know you already have a setup, so you can kind of explain that if you want.
Yeah.
But kind of give it over here. Are you going to buy these?
Yeah, so this may take a little longer, but my entire investment portfolio, retirement and non-retirement, was in Vanguard. And as many people know, I guess, Vanguard does not offer any crypto-related asset, ETFs, any other of the trusts that were available. They basically have a policy that they don't think it's part of a balanced portfolio. Because of that, I had to transfer about a third of my IRA to Alto IRA, who Coinbase is the custodian for, in order to get exposure to crypto assets. So I'm not planning to buy any more ETH ETFs. Already fairly heavily exposed to that through my IRA, and I'll just keep it there and kind of let that ride. But I would I would like to get that back to Vanguard at some point. But until they enable any kind of crypto assets, I'm going to keep my money away.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable thing to do. And just to kind of chime in there, if I remember correctly, I'm kind of surprised that Vanguard isn't changing their tune because if I remember correctly, their CEO was fired following the Bitcoin ETF because they didn't offer them, and all of their competitors, all these asset managers, were seeing
Yes.
billions of dollars of inflows, which they get a percentage of each year. So that's a huge revenue driver. It was the most successful ETF launch in potentially history, if I'm remembering correctly. So that was a big blunder. So I'm kind of surprised they're not changing their tune there.
Yeah. So no, I agree, and I think the new guy's former BlackRock. So maybe that'll change things around here in the weeks and months to come. But I'm going to throw this back to you. What about you? You're a little bit, not a little bit, you're a lot younger and different stage of your portfolio development. Do you think you'll buy any of the ETFs when they become available?
So the first thing to kind of mention here, and you're not going to like this, I don't have any tax advantage retirement accounts that I've set up on my own accord. So I need to do that. I need to set one up generally.
Have I
And
not taught you anything? Have you not learned anything from the Grand Tonto?
yeah, whatever. We'll see. But okay, here's the thing. Now this is kind of, the little kick in the butt that I need to get it going. If I can buy ETH in a retirement account, of course I'm going to do it. So I think this is what I'm going to do over the next couple months. I'm going to set it up. I'll start contributing regularly, and a portion of that will go into the ETTFs. I believe I have enough exposure on chain in Coinbase and centralized
Yes.
exchanges. So I'm not going to put it all into the ETTFs, but I probably will partake there. And
Good.
okay, yeah, yeah. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. Let you know what my process is. I guess I can't go to Vanguard, which is kind of annoying because I had Vanguard brokerage accounts in the past. I've heard Schwab is good, very low trading fees. We'll see, we'll see. So I'll let you guys know. Keep you updated there.
Okay.
So next up, last question in this section is what do you think about the possibility of ETH staking ETFs? So I mentioned that the language was removed from Fidelity's S1 application, but they're going to try again, I'm sure, at some point in the future. So what do you think there?
I love it. I think that ETH staking ETFs, that's a mouthful. ETFs with staking ETH are a huge component that will drive growth of the retail adoption because I think the narrative on them is so easy. It's basically a tech asset that has a dividend yield. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. Now, granted, it's higher volatility, but it's very easy for the average consumer to look at a chart and see price go up and to look at a chart that says 3, 4% yield. So I hope the staking ETFs do come along. Um, and I think it will be yet another boom for the ETH ETF marketplace and ETH in general.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I really like the idea that you said of kind of like this tech asset with yield on
Yeah,
top, which in traditional markets, besides very mature tech companies, it's hard to get profitable tech companies with a lot of price upside that also have a dividend yield, right? So I think it's a
right.
really interesting product there. And the first thing I'll say here I wanted to add on is I don't know how long this is going to take, so don't ask because I'm not well versed in the legal aspects. And this is kind of the one thing I will say is that the spot ETF had precedent to be approved because there were already futures products trading, and they used that as the basis to approve the Bitcoin spot ETFs. So the ETH ETF naturally followed. For this, completely different thing. I have no idea how long it's going to take, so I wanted to say that. But to build on kind of that idea we were just talking about, I've heard TradFi, kind of these traditional asset managers, described as yield simps, and I'm changing the language there. Do you know what a simp is?
In some context, yes, but I don't think I'm going to say it here.
Yeah, they love yield. Let's just say that yield
Okay,
simps.
yeah,
They love okay, so they love things with
yeah.
yield. They're all about their bonds. All right, but I think that's really good to have this kind of product with yield. They're gonna love that. Is the first thing. And Bankless has kind of again I'm mentioning Bankless, but they've popularized the idea of an internet bond, which is kind of what you're talking about. So first, it's like this completely uncorrelated, not completely. It will move in line with kind of central banks' policies to some extent, but much less than like other debt products would within the United States or other countries. So it's kind of like you can diversify your fixed income portfolio by putting this internet bond in your portfolio. So I think that's really interesting first. Like you said, the second thing, it's a growth play with yield, which is hard to find. I think that's really
Yeah.
interesting. And then the third thing is that once these products are actually yielding in traditional asset managers' portfolios, it's kind of like a reference rate for all of DeFi, which could be an onboarding
Mhm.
mechanism for them to get into the space and kind of like use the models that they have for playing in markets. Because in traditional finance, they used to have LIBOR, which has been discontinued because for manipulation reasons, which is kind of ironic, but I won't get into that. And they've replaced it with SOFR, the secured overnight funding rate. And this kind of is used to value all these different fixed income and other products throughout traditional finance. And I think having that for DeFi is kind of an overlooked, not understood thing that could really help.
So Ben, for the normal user, is that the sort of, I don't know, baseline risk-free rate in a DeFi sense? It's not the Fed rate, right? It's something more general. It's a market rate. Is that the right way to think about it?
Yeah, it's like a reference rate. So it's like there's all these DeFi yields that you can get across these different chains, and as you move up
Yep.
the stack, like L2, new lending markets, whatever, yeah, the yield's going to be more, but you're taking on more risk there. So within the Ethereum ecosystem, like what is like the baseline closest to the protocol, most native yield to the ecosystem, and that's the ETH
Mm,
staking yield. So you can
gotcha.
compare all these other different yields to that reference yield, and that's really useful for these traditional models. So that's kind of just an
Understood.
overview. Yeah,
Understood. Okay.
cool,
Sounds good.
nice. I think those are some good thoughts. So, any last thoughts on the Ethereum ETF before we go to the next topic?
Now let's move on to the more this a little bit more fun and controversial stuff. I'm looking at our outline here, so let's move on. And I think the next thing here is the you have it labeled the Ethereum versus Solana war. So that's a quite a word war there. So what's happening there, Ben?
Yeah, so this kind of broke out really recently, like Friday, and we're recording this Saturday. So, a war broke out between the Ethereum and Solana fanboys. So the spark was really that Ethereum creator Vitalik Buterin retweeted an old tweet from a Solana mega bull named Ansem. And I don't, do you know who Ansem is? By the way, Todd, have you seen
No
this
idea.
guy?
No,
So
no.
he's a Twitter personality. Okay. Yeah, he's a Twitter personality who really, I'll give him credit. He did call the Solana resurrection in like the midst of the bear market after it imploded following FTX's collapse and all of that. So he's been in the ecosystem a while, but he's kind of just the poster child for the whole Solana ecosystem. And he had this tweet a couple years ago in 2022 where he said a lot of the Luna hate seems to be coming from the ETH camp I've seen. And what he's referring to is the Terra Luna project, the stablecoin project that blew up last bull cycle. And he was saying this because all the Ethereum people were saying, hey, basically this thing is just a Ponzi scheme. There's no fundamentals here. It's not going to work. It's going to reverse, and then the whole thing's going to explode, and people are going to get hurt. And Ethereum people were getting crap for that at the time because coin price was going up, like mob mentality. That's what happens. And the thing to add on to here is that Vitalik retweeting this tweet came on the heels of a week where celebrities have started launching coins on Solana. And this is kind of like another aspect of the story. So Caitlyn Jenner released a token on Solana, and so did Iggy Azalea. And I know you know who Caitlyn Jenner is. Do you know who Iggy Azalea is?
Is she a singer?
Yeah, she's a singer. It sort of
Okay.
was famous a bit ago, kind of dropped off, but and basically the thing is that Ansem's
Mm.
been recruiting celebrities and like endorsing these coins. And I don't know if he's directly involved in them, but he's definitely shilling them to his audience and really saying like this is the way to onboard normal people to crypto. And that it's just good to get people using the technology. So hey, let's get these celebrity coins, get them on there, get them trading these coins, whatever. And the kind of problem is that a lot of these end up being rug pulls or just have massive insider allocations, and there's been a bunch of problems with them. So all the new people are having this first experience where they think they're buying this coin, and then they think it's going to go out, they're having fun, then they lose all their money. And I saw a tweet, someone was like, I'm new, I didn't know my 2000 could go down to $50 and things like that.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the people's point about the whole thing and in the criticism. And then this just started off a whole Twitter thing of people going back and forth, critiquing each other, Ethereum versus Solana. And this is kind of a recurring theme. But that's kind of the overview. So to ask you, what are
Yeah.
your initial thoughts? Like, what do you think?
So obviously I make fun of this a lot, but my engineering background says before they can, claim seriousness, it's got to be up. Solana has to be up for years at a time, period. Second thing, as an adult in the room, there was some kind of suspect, kind of racist, bigoted, misogynic, xenophobic stuff on Solana, which is sort of not cool and not what you want your retail investors to see. And that's, either that needs to be cleaned up or, maybe that's the chain where all that stuff is at. I don't think that's a good long-term play, but, we'll see. Um, Third, I don't know if I'm or positive or negative on the sort of C and D list celebrities launching tokens. Um, I believe that Caitlyn Jenner one didn't her or that whatever the developer of that pull the rug on it. Like the person they hired to do it took the money and ran. Um, so like you mentioned, people, the average consumer is losing money on it. And I'm not, if we want to trade baseball cards, fine. That's fine. Use these coins to do it. That's what I would equate it to. Um, I personally think there's more opportunity in being next generation of DeFi on some chain, whether that's ETH or Solana or whatever, than this sort of, generate high, pump and dump kind of thing. I'm not into that. I've never been able to make money off that. Maybe that's why I'm not into it. But it is what it is. It's part of our culture now, and I think it's going to be tolerated at least for some more time, at least through this next cycle. So, Solana's fine. I don't think I wouldn't classify it as the most serious chain, but people use it, and I guess proof is in the pudding that way. So I guess I've talked enough. That's what I feel about it.
Yeah, I generally agree with those sentiments that you have. My only comments to push back a little bit would be that I think not even to push back, but to separate kind of like the engineers and the developers working on the chain from the culture of the users on the chain. So I would agree that the culture on the chain has become very degenerate, and let's just call a spade a spade. It's just a casino. And a lot you can call a lot
Yeah,
of crypto just a casino, which a lot of it is, but Solana is kind of where that's maximized, and that's just the culture there. That's what it is. And you'll hear them talk about like we have very high throughput, very high speeds. And they have a good team of engineers, and I don't kind of lump them into this. And they have some good tech, but they're saying like we're going to have these AI applications, these deep end infrastructure projects that are going to do this, this, and that. And just let's look at what's going on. That is not what the chain is used for at all. No one uses it for that. It's basically only for gambling, and it's devolved pretty badly at times. So I would agree there, but I just want to make that distinction. So I guess kind
yeah,
of to expand on that from my take here, you were going to say something?
yeah. Well, I wanted to just follow up that you mentioned AI. I've seen some really cool AI for crypto projects that I want to talk about in some other episode coming up. I kind of am very doubtful on like AI in crypto. And I don't even
Mm.
know what that means, but I don't know what an AI coin is. I don't know what an AI uh, smart contract is. I have no idea what it is. I think that's a bunch of hype. So I would discount that a lot. Now the deep end stuff, real world asset stuff, I like. That's a next generation moving Solana or ETH or whoever else one step closer to the average consumer being able to collateralize their real world assets like their house or their car. So that's a good thing. So yeah, go ahead, Ben. Joe.
Yeah. To address the AI point, we'll get into those. I think you're right. Most of it is vaporware. There are some interesting projects which we can get into, but a lot of it is just complete speculation, vaporware. Projects paste AI on it, like normal companies do to get higher valuations. But that's
Yeah,
for another time. And just to
yeah,
kind of give my general take here is that I think Vitalik retweeting this Ansem tweet from a while ago is him expressing his view that this manic and sometimes degenerate culture often ends poorly, like it did in Terra Luna. And it's kind of like a warning shot, a reminder to everyone that yes, you can make money in this. Yes, you need to know the game you're playing, though, is the thing. And that a lot of people don't know the game they're playing and they just get caught up in it, and then the whole thing explodes like it did with Terra Luna. And inevitably, this is going to happen with this type of thing. And on net, more people will get burned than will benefit from these meme coin games that are everywhere on Solana. So that's kind of the point that he's making. And I think this really demonstrates the cultural difference between like Ethereum and Solana people. And I like meme coins. I enjoy them at times, and we can get into a more nuanced discussion about like why meme coins are fun, why they're actually making an interesting point about like the nature of investing or playing or like kind of how money creation, value creation works. And I think that's for a different time. But the question is, do we really want this to be how we onboard new people to crypto instead of maybe like DeFi that actually they might learn something about finance, learn this new financial system that's burgeoning and is going to be more and more of a part of our daily lives, or maybe digital art where they buy their favorite artists' NFTs, things like this. I just don't think this is the way that or the way that we want to onboard most people to crypto. Is kind of my final point, though, and this is just the point Vitalik is trying to make.
Yeah, I agree with that. Um, I do want to insert a little bit of levity here about Vitalik, he's sort of a low key dog, but everybody out there in our audience, I want you to go look up the most recent picture of Vitalik and compare his face to Tom Brady's, because there is some resemblance. You guys are laughing at me right now, but Vitalik and Tom, they could be long lost brothers.
Yeah, I'll go check that out. Honestly, I saw you sent me that, and I didn't look at it closely. I'll do a
Yeah,
close investigation. The only thing,
yeah.
Tom used to
I
be
know.
a crypto guy. He was reeled in by FTX actually, and so he's probably not coming back, unfortunately. But we have Vitalik still.
Yeah, it's all right. It wasn't, yeah, whatever. They just have a oddly, I mean, Vitalik has a unique look. And it's odd when I say that he may look a little bit like, glamour boy Tom Brady, but he does, I think. Very strange segue,
Fair enough.
Benjo. Very strange segue. I'm sorry about that. Please continue.
Fair enough. All right. So that kind of wraps up the Ethereum Solana conversation. If you guys have any
Yeah.
thoughts about that, and we're gonna like this is gonna draw some controversy. Solana people, Ethereum people. It's all good. It's all fun. I think it's good to give your points and we can talk about it. But that's going on. A development to keep your eye on. Next topic. So we have this happened just late last night, and I just threw it in recently because I thought it was pretty interesting. This is a bit more serious again, but it's Biden vetoed SAB 121. And so SAB 121 is basically, it was an SEC staff accounting bulletin, which was repealed in a Congress bill that received bipartisan support. And this was kind of, generally speaking, it was bad for crypto, and I'll talk about why. But this was passed by Congress, and then Biden just vetoed it last night. And this is interesting because it seemed like the Democrats were kind of changing their tune. A lot of people thought that the Ethereum ETF approval was kind of the Democrats in the White House rethinking their strategy because crypto actually is popular in the United States and they were losing money and votes from being anti-crypto. So a lot of people thought that was the reason for the decision. And then this was kind of reinforced this week where I saw a few headlines saying that the Democratic Party, and I believe the White House specifically, was reaching out to members of the crypto industry to try to better understand how they can converse with us, understand what we want, how to talk to us, and kind of provide regulation and support that we want for the industry. So things were looking up, and then people expected to be again reinforced by Biden not vetoing this and ultimately saying, yeah, let's get rid of this ridiculous SEC rule. But he did veto it. And in the statement, he said, my administration will not support measures that jeopardize the well-being of consumers and investors. Appropriate guardrails that protect consumers and investors are necessary to harness the potential benefits and opportunities of crypto asset innovation. And that's kind of what he said. And just kind of give you an idea also of
Yeah,
what the bill did. just to close this
Yeah, tell me
off,
what the bill
is
did.
that
Right.
yeah, so the bill repealed the bulletin. So it was an SEC regulatory
Yeah, what was the
statement.
bulletin? What did the bulletin say?
It basically it drew concerns from the industry because people believe that it basically prevents banks from offering crypto custodial services because it would require them to record the crypto holdings of their customers as liabilities on their balance sheets. And this is kind of technical, but the thing to know is this is not how any other custody assets are treated. And if you have any thoughts on what that means there, go ahead and give them. But it's different from how all other assets are treated. And it's pretty egregious that that was their stance. So it was pretty clear to Congress from what I read that this is dumb. It doesn't make sense. Why are we treating this differently from everything else? And they decided to get rid
How
of
are
it.
other assets treated? How are
That's
other
a good
assets
question.
treated?
It's a good question. I don't know exactly, and I can do more research there to kind of let you guys know. Again, this just happened last night, so I didn't have time to look into it as much.
Yeah.
But the general sentiment is that it was a pretty egregious regulatory action and statement by the SEC.
Can Congress have enough votes to overturn it? The veto?
They need 2/3 majority to overturn Biden's veto.
Well, that's in the House. That's pretty close if it falls in line with the FIT 21 voting. Off the top of my head, that was like 290 to one something or 390 to one something.
Yeah,
So that'll be interesting to see. I don't know about in the Senate, but that'll be interesting.
yeah. I think it's possible that it's overturned, but I think like the big takeaway in question here is what do you think about kind of the change in tune and like what the White House is doing? So to preface this, the thought was basically that the Democrats in the White House are changing their tune because Trump is pro crypto, Republicans are pro crypto. He's accepting crypto donations, trying to get the crypto money, the crypto vote, all of that. And they were like, oh crap, we need to also pander to this audience and kind of give them what they want to compete with Trump. But it looks like that was kind of backtracked here. First, what do you think about like what do you think about this generally? Do you think this is the Democrats just playing a more complex game? What do you think they're thinking?
Well, I think they're probably like, all right, we realize we need to throw a bone to the crypto people. They threw a very big bone in the ETH ETF, and probably FIT 21 will not be vetoed, which is seen as a pro crypto bill. So maybe they're figuring out we can go back maybe to our basic roots a little bit with SAB 121. Go ahead and veto it, and it won't do us any harm. But certainly there are political motives for the things that are approved and the things that are vetoed, and maybe the executive office was getting some pushback from uh, the the Democratic loyalists who do not support crypto, that they needed a bone thrown to them, and maybe this was it.
Yeah, I like that take. I do think that it was a bone thrown to the industry as opposed to a wholesale change in tune, because I don't think fundamentally that they really have an incentive to go full crypto bulls like Trump has. So I think they're still kind of mixed here, but they did realize throughout the last few weeks that they would like the crypto vote and the crypto money. So they were throwing us a bone, but they're not ready to wholesale change their tune. And the one thing I would also say here is that I'm not entirely sure that them doing the Ethereum ETF was throwing us a bone. I think it honestly might have just been they were afraid to lose in court again. Gary has not had a good court record at all in coming after crypto companies. So it would have been a really hard case to win because of my aforementioned kind of reasoning for the ETF. The futures products we're trading, that's what Bitcoin was approved on. How do you not approve the ETFs, right? So
Yeah.
that's kind of the statement there. But I just do think that it's kind of a weird mix of actions from the White House, from the Democratic Party, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out moving forward.
No, I think that's a fair statement. I think that this also is a time when an old American saying that money talks and bullshit walks comes into play, because the amount of money that's flown into the Bitcoin ETFs and the amount of money that's going to flow into the ETH ETFs is going to swallow all this other stuff up, and it's going to bring people in, and soon there'll be no choice politically but to get on the crypto bandwagon, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, and come up with some good legislation that does protect consumers and lets the industry innovate. And to do that, they're going to have to talk with the industry, because I don't think a lot of these guys have a clue about how any of this stuff works. So, it's going to be an up and down process, and that veto probably was a down part of the process, but no doubt it's going to continue going forward.
Yeah, 100%. I think the last thing that I'm going to chime in here is that we're seeing kind of all this political talk heat up because we're going into an election and crypto's become a political issue is the one thing that I wanted to say, which is really interesting and was not on my bingo card following last bull cycle and in the bear cycle. I didn't even know if we were going to completely come back to the full manic cycles that we've seen, but we've come back. And it's actually become like a mainstream political issue, which is kind of wild and kind of just speaks to crypto's resilience. And it's kind of anti-fragile qualities. I know you like that word, but I
I
think it's
love that
really
word.
true. Yeah, and I think that's a really interesting thing to point out. Um, yeah, so on that topic, we'll see how it plays out. I think it's just good that we're in the conversation. We're here. We've made great progress. We have ETFs. We're making progress, and I think it's all good. We just gotta keep pushing as an industry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Benjo, do we have any fun stuff that we can talk about here? This is like some
I was
heavy
gonna
stuff.
ask.
Heavy stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was gonna ask you if there's anything you wanted to bring up. I know you're a bit on a tighter time budget here because of the wedding, and I didn't really
Well,
have any other topics. But if you have anything you want to talk about, I know you have some qualms with varying parts of crypto communities, projects, whatever it is. You can bring it up and we can talk about it.
is this my part of the show, Benjo, where it's free form now? It's the Grand Tontos portion. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're telling me?
Sure. Yeah. This is
All
your
right.
monologue, if you will.
I love it, my monologue. All right. Well, I have something I want to talk about. So over the past week, I've been thinking about my crypto activities. And as you know, Benjo, I am in Discord a lot. For better or worse, I'm there. I love that stuff. But I see so many people bitching and moaning about airdrops and prices and this and that. And I kind of use that to consistify a theory of this cycle for me, of my philosophy. This is not anyone else's philosophy, just mine. And as you know, I love short little sayings, right? Just win, baby, dare to be great, commitment to excellence, all that stuff. Well, I have one now for my investing philosophy, and it is this: it is farm to stake, stake to eat. So what that means is this cycle, I'm farming these DApps, uh, and admittedly, the airdrops haven't been great. But what I've been finding is that by staking that for perhaps a little bit longer time, you can start to get returns approaching 40, 50%, which I think I talked about last week. And through that staking, that's when you can eat. That's when you can make your returns. So everybody remember that: farm to stake, stake to eat. All right. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. Second thing I wanted to talk about, some of you out there are interested in my prior saying, which is decentralization is not socialism. Decentralization is access. New logos will be coming out this week highlighting that, and maybe we're going to have our first merch, Ben, our first merchandising with that on it. So I'm excited about that happening. Um, and yeah, last thing on my list this week is, as you know, we challenged Fred Kreuger to a boxing match. I've not heard from Fred. I'm not heard from Fred. That may be a good thing that we're not going to box. But Ben, I wanted to ask you. You know more about this. Me versus BitBoy. Who you have? Boxing match.
Okay, his record is 1-0.
Really?
He won.
The
Yeah.
the Lambo guy won. The guy that sits in the Lambo won.
Yeah, so for people who don't know, BitBoy, there's pro am crypto fights at all these conferences, all these places. I
Yeah.
believe Boy fought in Dubai against the creator of the Harry Potter Sonic Obama 10 Inu coin, and he won, I believe. So he's 1 and
Who's
0, and you're 0.
yeah, but I mean, do I have a shot against him? I mean, I saw some of that video. He looked like his training regime may not have been, real high quality.
Yeah. No, you have a chance. I seen you're in the gym. You're consistent. I think if you're really locked in, cleaned up the diet a little bit, really
I
locked in
know.
on performance, you could
Performance,
be
yeah.
ready to fight. You could win.
All right. And now I need to know this. How old is he? Is he my age?
Younger, I think. Just not much, but
Younger.
let's see. Bit boy
Yeah.
age.
Age. This is
40,
important. How
42.
old?
42.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. But it looks like he might need to work on his diet a little bit too, though, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I haven't seen him recently, so I don't know. But from the last here, wait, let me just share the screen. We'll give you guys a little
Yeah.
look at boys' last fight. I
Yeah.
don't know if I
Let's
can
do
share.
that.
So here
Well,
we
oh,
go.
all right.
Let's look at these pictures.
Let's see. Is that BitBoy on? Oh, wait.
Right here. Look at battle
Oh, all
score.
right. He might be a little better. He might. Yeah. I got to work a little bit there, Ben. That's
Yeah.
14 years. Those 14 years, uh, is that the guy? Is that the creator of the Harry Potter coin?
Yeah, yeah.
Nick
This
Carter. Is
guy.
that no?
No, it's not Nick
Oh,
Carter was gonna fight David Hoffman, but Hoffman
oh,
broke a
that's the
rib. The band,
broken rib guy. Yeah,
yeah, he broke his
gotcha.
rib. Hopefully, though, I'm kind of happy. Maybe I can get to their fight next time. I think that'd be a good one. They're both training hard. Nick Carter put out a training video. Hoffman was sharing his journey. I would like to see that one, but yeah, it didn't happen.
They're
Didn't happen.
younger, right? They're much younger.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
younger.
Okay.
They're
I think there should be age categories of this. I don't think I should have to fight a 42-year-old. That's kind of bullshit, if you ask me.
well, you're the oldest man in
Age
crypto.
category.
Who else ever
Who
beat?
will? It's me and Fred Kreuger. That's it. That's it. The Balchunas guy, he has a family, right? But he's more of an ETF guy, and he looks in his 40s. There's nobody my age.
Yeah,
I mean,
Balchunas isn't a crypto guy. He's an ETF guy. Yeah, it's true.
yeah. Wait, I have an idea. Who's the guy that created Bitcoin? Satoshi. If he's
Yeah.
alive, I'm challenging him to come out of hiding to fight me. All right. I want me and him battle royal. I think this could do it. We're gonna find out who he is right now because of that challenge.
All right, you heard it here first. The Grand Tonto
Yes.
challenges Satoshi Nakamoto to a boxing match, or are you gonna in the octagon, maybe a UFC style?
UFC style, but we're gonna be. I want face mask. I want face mask, gloves, stuff on our feet. But yeah, it's gonna be UFC. We're gonna grapple. We're gonna grapple. I
All
have
right,
some long levers. I have some long levers. And
that's true.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so we're kind of getting off the rails here. Ben, what's left on your agenda? Is there anything else? I saw Mount Gox. What the heck is Mount Gox?
Yeah, so this is old. This is classic. This is 2014. Obviously, I wasn't in crypto at the time, but I've heard a bunch about it. It's Magic the Gathering online exchange. So it was a OG Bitcoin exchange, and it
Yeah,
got hacked. It had some ridiculous percentage of all Bitcoins in it at the time whenever it got hacked. So what happened was that Mt. Gox controlled wallets moved billions of dollars in Bitcoin for the first time in 5 years, just this past week.
this week.
So
Oh
over
wow.
140,000 Bitcoin, which is worth around $9 billion, was transferred around to a few unknown addresses. People are speculating that it's to repay some creditors, which is interesting because if the people get their repaid Bitcoin after all this time, they're probably going to sell it because it's a lot of money. So that
Yeah,
actually has some downward pressure on Bitcoin, which is why it's interesting news.
I got you. All right. All right. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Anything else, Ben? I think we're wrapping up here.
I'm just going to go through at the end of each show some other news headlines. We don't have enough time to cover every single thing in depth, just kind of the important things. And I like that we mix in some fun stuff. We'll try to, there's just been a lot of regulatory political news, so we had to cover it. But I think moving forward, we'll be a bit more degen, focus on crypto protocols, other things like this. But
Yep.
I'm going to go through news headlines that we were not able to discuss in depth. So the first one was
Okay.
that Mount Gox story. Second
Yep.
is Ionic, the largest protocol, a lending market on the Mode Layer 2, released its token this past week. Any quick thoughts on that from your end?
Yeah, I received that token. It went very smoothly for me. I went to bed. I woke up when they said it was going to be distributed. I checked my wallet. It was there. I went back to sleep. Obviously, like for the price to go higher, it's not. But I actually asked those guys on Discord, is there going to be some staking options going on? And I'm hoping they wouldn't answer me directly. They said, guess what, soon. But I'm really hoping that they come out with some detailed tokenomics and how we can make money maybe in the longer term this week.
Cool. Yeah, Ionic's good. Kudos to the team. They were in early mover on Mode. Been using them for a while. You need a L2 lending protocol on Mode. They have a good
Yeah.
ecosystem now building out. That's it, but that's cool. Next up,
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it. I think it's Ryan Salam, not Ryan Salami, but I don't know. But he was an FTX executive, and he was recently sentenced this past week to 90 months in a federal prison, 3 years of supervised release, and ordered to pay 11 million in fines for his role in the bankrupt exchange's shenanigans. And this is funny because he's actually like live tweeting like reactions to his sentence and all this. So you can go on Twitter and look at his tweets, which I found was interesting. I don't really have any comments here, just sharing that. So moving on to the next one. Uh, oh, this is kind of ties into the AI theme. We can explore this more. So I think the AI coins had a nice run up early in the bull cycle, but then they kind of sold off pretty hard during this first kind of downturn that we had. And so three of the top AI protocols, which a couple of them actually have some interesting stuff, maybe, but it's Fetch AI, Ocean Protocol, and Singularity Net agreed to merge their projects and tokens into a single token. So they are doing M&A in the crypto space essentially,
Huh.
and they are forming the Artificial Superintelligence Alliance, the ASI. So they announced their detailed plans for the token launch and how the exchange rates are going to work between the three tokens into one. And that's something to keep your eye on. The token probably will go up, so you might want to buy it. Not financial advice, I have no idea, but interesting news nonetheless. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I actually have some thoughts on that. So I've been chilling buying crypto to my buddies. And about 2 months ago, one of my buddies, I'll use his nickname, J Millie 55. J Millie 55 decided to go and buy crypto. And he bought Bitcoin, ETH, and Ocean. Because, quote, it was an AI coin. So I guess he's going to benefit from this merger, and they're going to create, what are they, the super intelligent blockchain AI thing?
That wasn't it.
Oh,
It's the Artificial Superintelligence Alliance,
oh, the
the
super
ASI.
intelligence. Okay. All right. So
Superintelligence.
I'm not gonna comment on the super intelligent alliance. That sounds like something that I won't have anything nice to say about. Go ahead.
Fair enough. I think some of a couple of the protocols we could talk about it. Not all of it's complete vaporware. I wouldn't say invested, but I've traded Ocean Token before actually because I was looking at the project a while ago. But we'll get into it later. It is kind of a nerdy name, I will say. It's kind of like, have you seen the video? I think it was whenever Microsoft released Windows, and it was all the it was like Bill Gates, what's his name, guy who owns the basketball team,
Stephen
the other day,
Ballmer. Stephen Ballmer.
yeah,
Ballmer.
Palmer, Clippers. He's on the Clippers, but they were like dancing on
Yeah.
stage. I'm thinking of like the founders of this artificial superintelligence alliance doing that is what comes to mind.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
Hey Ben, I
a little
actually
bit.
just remembered. I'm gonna give some alpha here. So soon we were going to do our first interview with, I believe we're going to do our first interview with a crypto founder of it's a smaller project on Mode, but it's probably one of my favorite projects. Great, great mods on Discord, but also really cool ideas about staking and how they're going to reward people for long-term growth. So I don't want to get too much into that yet till we get it confirmed. But like we're going to have a legit interview with, I'd say one of the, guy that knows a lot about crypto, been in this industry and has built multiple protocols. So I'm kind of excited about the opportunity to do that if that comes to pass. So more details on that will come out later as we solidify some things.
Yeah,
So make
definitely
sure we
something
get that
to.
in there. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
cool. Yeah, we'll keep you guys updated on that. I'm excited about that as well. I think it'll be really cool to dive in, talk to some founders. So hopefully we can get that rolling. We'll keep you guys updated there. Cool. Last couple things here then that I wanted to go over in terms of other headlines for this week. One is that Grayscale actually did a crypto survey, and it's about the role of crypto in the 2024 election. So you can kind of see American sentiment about crypto generally and how they're feeling about it and kind of the role it plays in their lives if they're owning it, all these different things. So we'll link that. I thought it was really interesting. There were some cool insights in there. Did you take a look at that at all?
Is this the same Grayscale that has the ETFs?
Yeah, that's correct. They were
Huh.
offering crypto trusts for a while before any of this could
Yeah.
be converted into ETFs. Now they're
Yeah.
converting them into ETFs. So yeah.
And now they're doing surveys.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so.
Okay. I didn't look into it. I mean, what did they say? What about it? What do people Americans think about crypto for this election?
Okay, let me see. So opening this up. Okay, let's see if I can share this. See that?
Yeah.
Cool. So first thing, basically a bunch of surveys. So uh, different polls about. Let's start about Exhibit 1 about Bitcoin. Voters increasingly focus on Bitcoin. Nearly 1 in 3 American voters say that spot Bitcoin ETF approval has made them more interested in investing in Bitcoin or crypto. That's pretty good.
Yeah, but does
Exhibit
that mean
2.
two? Wait, stop. Does that mean that 2/3 say they're less interested?
No, I think they no opinion or less interested. Probably no opinion for the most. That'd
Yeah.
be interesting.
I'd,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, go.
How would that make you,
Keep going.
you know?
Huh?
Okay, Exhibit 2. Exhibit 2, Bitcoin price is higher than during previous elections. That is interesting.
That's
Exhibit 3, voters increasingly expect their portfolio to include crypto. 47% of American voters indicated that they expect some of their investment portfolio to include crypto. That's a lot, in my opinion.
that's a whole lot. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Crypto is a bipartisan political issue. Exhibit 4, single most pressing problem by party. What is the single most pressing problem in America right now? Democrat, and they break it into the Democrat and Republican. So both parties, it seems, say inflation, with Republicans, 38% of them saying that inflation is the most important issue. Is crypto in here? No, I guess this is just a general, interesting, just a general chart there. Okay, so I guess that
No,
are a
that's
couple interesting
interesting.
things in there. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
guys want to take a look, we'll link that as well. You can look more into it. Just something that came out this week, kind of on the theme of politics and crypto, which is developing, and I think it's just going to keep heating up as we draw closer to the election. Let's see. Last thing here, kind of news this week was that BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF overtook GBTC, which is Grayscale's ETF, which was converted from a trust to an ETF. BlackRock's overtook it as the world's largest Bitcoin ETF by assets under management there. So that was interesting. BlackRock's, again, biggest player. Larry Fink is going to send us to the moon, hopefully. And just kind of news update on that end. Any last thoughts there or anything else that you wanted to talk about here?
No, I think this has been another long episode because of the regulatory stuff, but I think this has been a good show again. I always appreciate doing this with you, and I think next week yet again in a new location. I will be in the Big Apple with Benjo. So it'll be the Benjo and Grand Tonto show at a new location, maybe Statue of Liberty, maybe at the epicenter of TradFi at Wall Street with the bull and his balls. Maybe Central Park. We'll have to figure it out, buddy.
Yeah,
I
no,
think
I
we should
think
go.
that would be at least. You said?
We got to go to the bull. I just thought of that. We got to go to the bull. We're going to film with the rear end of the bull. All right.
I like that. Yep. That's what I was thinking too. I think the bull is necessary. At least get some clips there. We'll throw them in there. Us playing with the
Yeah.
bull, talking crypto in front of it. Maybe we'll meet some TradFi friends, convince them to buy some ETH, buy some Bitcoin, buy some.
Maybe we'll have them. Ben, maybe it'll be a man on the street show. We'll go up to people. This is great. We're going to go up to people that look like they're in TradFi. All right. We're going to prototypical what finance bros, and we're going to ask them crypto questions for like our show. Like, right? Didn't David Letterman do that? And, yeah.
Yeah. People do that a lot. It's like on the street. The only thing I would say, those guys are busy, man. They're like on a tight schedule. They're like all buttoned up. They gotta like do their stuff. So they gotta be in the office.
Right,
so we'll see if we can get some time. It's a good idea.
Yeah. Thank you. I think so. It's going to be fun. So, audience, looking forward to next week. And hey, if you have any questions, please ask in the comment section. We'll get back to you. Like and subscribe and do whatever else you're supposed to do in social media. Ben, this is usually your part.
Yeah, share it. We'll have the links below for the material in here if you guys want to take a look. Tell a friend, like it, help us out. We're trying to get this out there. Hopefully we can provide some founder interviews, have some interesting people on, provide some more value there. Regardless, we hope this was informative, somewhat entertaining, somewhat. Let me know what you want to see next week, anything you think we should add, any comments that you had about the show. But yeah, it was a really fun one. I think we're getting better. It was a good episode here.
Yeah, I agree. We're going to keep up in our production value. All right. That's all I got, buddy.
All right. Talk to you later. See you guys.
Yep. See you, audience.